All right, this is Robert Reed back again with Talk About It Tuesday with Flint ReCAST. So again, we focus on resiliency in communities after stress and trauma, aims to assist high-risk youth and families by supporting the recovery and rebuilding of Flint's vibrant community. In short, we look to cultivate change, work with the partners to collaborate and reshape the narrative surrounding Flint. We want to improve behavioral health, empower community residents, reduction in trauma, and sustain community change. And so we're doing that with a special guest, the Flint Innovative Solutions with Athena McKay. I'm so happy to have you here to talk about the great work that you're doing. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you having us on.
Yes, pleasure's all mine. So, first of all, I'm excited because I recently attended one of the informational webinars that you had talking about some of the resources and programs of how you're supporting nonprofits and small businesses. And I was like, oh, more people need to know about this. This is amazing. So before we get to that, just tell me a little bit about you, Athena. Who are you? Where you grow up, all that type of stuff, what you're connected to, what's important to you?
Well, I know you're not from Flint, so I'll just say you should have been a wildcat, first and foremost.
I'm married to Flintstone.
Oh, there you go. See, that's that wisdom kicked in.
Yeah, and my father-in-law, look, he did 40 years plus at GM.
In Flint?
In Flint.
There, see?
And because I love stories, so I get to asking stories and tell me about this and tell me about that. So he started off on the line, and then he actually became an electrician. So he was a skilled tradesman. And I was like, wait a minute, because I was doing some math real quick. I said, I think you probably was one of the first skilled tradesmen.
That's right.
But anyway, so yeah. So, hey, I'm down.
Okay. For anyone who is not. So I actually grew up in Montrose, which is about 20 miles north of here.
I've been there.
Went to Clio. Had a very interesting upbringing.
Okay.
Racism is a real thing.
Okay.
My junior year, I actually then went to Northwestern to play basketball.
Oh.
So I graduated from Northwestern. I only spent 2 years.
You're a hooper.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
I didn't know.
Strong forward.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah. So it was a very dynamic shift from Clio to Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
But it really shapes my view of my work now in community, knowing that there's values on regardless of what we look like, where we come from. And that helps, I think, to negotiate and to bring mind and calm to bring forth solutions.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So with Flint Innovative Solutions, how did that come about?
Excellent question. So fast forwarded many years from graduating high school, getting my bachelor's in business administration and computer information systems, my master's in scientific administration at Central Michigan, and the other was at Detroit College of Business.
Okay.
I did some volunteer work, and fast forwarding again into my actual business practice, I was a community liaison for MSU.
Okay.
They had this project. It was around 2017 I came onto the project called the Flint Eats app, where they identify food resources to help mitigate the effects of lead due to the Flint water crisis and poisoning.
Okay.
As the liaison, I was to go out to community and say, hey, we got this thing. You want to use it? It'll help you. And as you know, we have an aging population. And so they said, oh, baby, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use my phone like that.
Right.
And so we quickly, I'll give a kudos to our researchers at the time. They really wanted it to be embedded in the community. So they asked us to start a nonprofit so that the app could actually live past the grant.
Nice.
That's the inception of Flint Innovative Solutions.
Okay, cool. Birthed out of a real need that was identified by doing your work. Okay.
Yep.
And at that time, too, I was actually working in Flint.
Okay.
I was serving low-income seniors, those that are dual eligible for Medicaid through the state because of income, as well as Medicare. And so my job was to go out to community in their homes and say, look, you already qualify for all these awesome benefits. All you have to do is enroll in them. And let me explain to you what that looks like. And let me actually hold your hand and walk you through that process. And it doesn't cost you a penny. You already got it. And that's one of the things that I've realized in Genesee County in particular is I'm like, it's not about we need more resources. It's a very resource-rich county, really. And it's about removing the barriers and making sure that people understand this is the path for you to connect and get all these wonderful things that are available to you. And so it's important work. So I'm glad to hear that you had that experience, and that's really where Flint Innovative Solutions came from.
Absolutely. And our catchphrase, too, is to bridge the gap. Because we didn't want to duplicate any of the services, but there was a definite gap between the resources and those in need. And so as using our communication skills and technology, we're still able to bridge that gap and bring the resources to those who need it most.
Wow, that's awesome. So I guess that talks about, why I was so blown away with that webinar and all the resources. So tell me a little bit more about the program and the work that you guys do.
Well, I'll focus on our tremendous project that we were able to work on this summer, which was strengthening the bridge and devouring the divide, or SBDD, because we love acronyms for some reason. Thinking about the service providers who are normally understaffed, undercompensated, who have their own set of struggles, just working and serving out of love and compassion for a community, and also those in need, the underserved themselves. We wanted to focus on the service providers. With technology being secondhand, for us, we often hear, well, can you host this for us, or can you help us with hybrid meetings or whatnot? Can you help us develop a website, social media, and all of these things, flyer development? And so not wanting them to dive that deep into it, but say, there's some resources, because you may be limited with funding, that are free through this wide list that we develop of resources that you can, because you're a nonprofit, access for free or low cost. And that helps them, be more efficient in their practice and service to the community, as well as, the bottom line, every penny counts.
Absolutely. I'm thinking about when I was with the Medicare company, talked about we're a business of nickels, right? But as much comes in, the majority goes out, right? And it's a small margin, and we got to do a lot with the little. Right. And so that's really important to know how you can navigate those waters. And we were really excited to support, that program with the mini grant. And so I'm sure that you have some testimonies of, the people that you've touched and made a difference in the organization. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. Two stand out for me right now. Well, actually three. Love Inc. has been doing the work in the community for years. Frank came on to one of our trainings, and he was very transparent. He said, we went back to paper and pen. We're still using paper and pen to document and track our successes and the processes. And so being able to offer Frank some options, and Love Inc. and those they serve, some ways to be efficient, it's always heartwarming. Thinking back, introducing my father to technology, the whole fight. It's like, I'm good. I don't, if
that's for you. That's for y'all.
That's I don't need to do all of that. Right. But introducing to Facebook, we couldn't keep him off of it. And so being able, again, it's that light bulb that comes on and say, there's an easier way, but you're so far in the trenches, and you're just serving, and if you pick up this box and hand it to this person, that family will be fed. You're not thinking about the system, the tracking, and all of these other things that are required. And so again, just being able to offer those moments of reflection, and then actually be palatable to say, okay, now we'll come back and help you set those things up, so that. And Frank's like, well, when you coming?
Right.
And just, again, also developing those partnerships, those relationships, so that they know the true intent of why we're here is to help you be more efficient. We don't need our logo or anything.
Right.
We just want you to be efficient and be able to serve the community, because there's so much need in our community.
Yeah. Weaving the fabric of a strong community together. I know you said you had a couple in there, and that's powerful. You know what I mean? To know that, because I'll be honest with you, I still do things paper and pen, even though I know how to use the technology. It's like I just need to know that it's available to me. But there's something about this neuro-linguistic program and process that allows you to have this go and help you remember. But I like paper and pen.
I love it. I actually, to a fault, where I would print out a large document because it's weird on my eyes. I'm not as young as I used to be. But being able to write in the margins, it's important. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's one of those note-taking skills. If you can learn it early before you start going to college and all those type of things, it's like you should actually take a class on actually how to take notes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Makes a world of difference.
It's a whole difference. And then, too, we have to take notes for meetings, and it's like you missed, like, half the conversation. Wait a minute. So thank God we have recordings, but still.
I'm a copious note taker myself. What is copious? I take a lot of notes.
I do too.
But because I speak and present, I don't always take the same notes. I'm not so much about what the person is saying, it's how they're saying it, And all those little things are important.
Absolutely. And I take notes on my phone too, which can be distracting for non-techies. And I'm like, oh, and so what you said was, and you can scroll through it. They're like, oh, she was paying attention. I'm like, I just need to.
Wasn't playing Tetris or what Angry Birds. That was at one of those games.
Right.
So what significance did that help you guys just receiving, the mini grant, that level of support? What did it mean to, your organization?
It's tremendous. Like you said, every penny counts. We're a company of nickels, I believe you said. Yeah. We're a nonprofit. We're fully grant funded. And so I think I heard in one of your previous podcasts how important it is for you to make those relationships in community. But then once you're in the cusp, the funding goes away. Yeah. And we've been there on multiple cycles, I would say. And so the funds that were provided by ReCAST were able to sustain, assist with sustaining my staff to be able to do those services and provide those services for community. Yeah.
And I've learned, too, just going through the grant cycles and different things like that, you always have a plan for sustainability and what that looks like. And really fortunate to be in Genesee County, because if you can line everything up, your ducks in a row, and show the data, hey, this is evidence-based, we actually are making a difference, then the funds can continue to come in. And so helping out organizations get their ducks in a row and validate that just means that more great programming and making sure that those who really need it and can get connected to it, and it'll continue to go. Absolutely. So I'm excited about that.
If I could share one more testimony.
Yes, please.
Ms. Dominique Strong was also part of that workshop, and she's a firehouse, doing great work in the community. But her eagerness and humbleness as you build partnerships, you need to know when to give and pull. Right. And for her to ask those questions and for us to be able to provide support, again, generations, this work needs to continue. regardless of who's sitting in the seat.
Absolutely.
So some of her questions were around, structure of her nonprofit. And so because we've gone through the process and also helped other organizations, it was an honor to be able to assist her with strengthening her work.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And we definitely love to hear that. I'm just thinking about, I have business aspirations. So I remember my first job at a college was at Henry Ford Health System. And so I had my Henry Ford Health System. I was a special project coordinator. And I went and made my own business cards with Vistaprint,
Absolutely.
just because I wanted to see myself as, no, I'm a business owner too. You know what I mean? I have a job. That's Henry Ford.
Totally different.
And this is mine, right? And I just went on the Vistaprint and said, I could order 15 cards for whatever.
Right.
But it starts, and you can't despise small beginnings because you just have to start. And a lot of times when you do start and you're out there, you run into people like you who are like, hey, I see that you're doing something. Let me come alongside you and help. And that's just, it makes a world of difference.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited about that.
Absolutely.
So what gaps are you seeing out there now? You already kind of mentioned it with the structure. Any other good questions that maybe somebody might have, some of your clients that you've served? They're like, you know what, we really need help with this.
I don't know if we have time for.
Well, give me the top three.
Well, with technology, and we're primarily a technology company, and so you have, again, so many CBOs who are doing the work for work's sake.
Is that community-based organization, CBO?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Who are seasoned and doing a phenomenal job making huge impacts on the disparities in our community. Zoom training, how to use Google, the Drive, Docs, Sheets. Microsoft also has a line of packages, Outlook, and so it's different components. Bookkeeping is major.
Everything's in the cloud now.
Everything is in the cloud. So where's the cloud at? Is it cloudy even in the summer? Wait, how do I get to the cloud?
Right.
Is it cloudier in the winter? Come on, we gonna have a special session.
You know what's funny is I'm reminded as you're going through those things. Sometimes you take it for granted because you use them every day at work.
Right.
But that's not everybody. Everybody's not using those things.
No.
And I have conversations with my 15-year-old and my 17-year-old, and it's so funny playing the AOL. Little CDs when you had to connect to the internet in the early days, and there's a particular sound. Yeah. But even connecting to the internet, there's that sound. And there was a movie we were watching and it said, and they were just looking like they had no point of reference. They didn't know what that was. And I said, oh, this is how we had to connect to the internet.
Absolutely.
And we had to wait for 3 to 5 minutes for that page to load.
Yes.
They're like, what? No way. Like they were losing their mind. Can't wait that long. I'm like, yeah. I mean, the iPhone, right? iPhone's only been out since 2007.
Yeah.
2007, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, the funny thing about technology, I actually start thinking about when the internet became a regular part of my life. Because, when actually my freshman year in college was 1996.
Okay.
That's when because I had access to the computers at college. And I would have to use them. And they had the little thing called Messenger, like instant messenger.
Yep.
Right? Before it was text messaging everywhere. The little
floppy drive.
Yep. Oh, some of my best work is still on floppies and zip drives. And I'm just like, I don't even have a computer to to get it. But it's, we need help because it moves so fast. And I'm just I remember vividly being an RA, resident advisor, in one of the dorms my third year, right? I was a junior. And the freshmen had their doors open and they were like, did you get it? Yeah, I just sent you 89 songs. That's my playlist. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? So I just got my CD Walkman and I'm walking around campus one disc at a time. You know what I mean? And they're sitting there looking at me, and they're just like, "These playlists, no, man, you don't have to carry CDs anymore." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I don't,
That
what?
quick.
Just
That quick.
Napster. And it took me so long to catch up to get off of CDs. So I can only imagine somebody who's just like, "Hey, we want you to vote." Like, now it's the political season, right? I'm getting so many text messages.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's just where it goes. Certain things die, and if you don't pay attention and catch up, you literally can be left behind.
Absolutely.
It's the digital divide.
Absolutely.
You know? And so this work is important, especially to handhold people and say, no, we'll come out to you and show you how to do this.
Absolutely.
I know that's massive.
It's so gratifying. I think one of my biggest testimonies, one of the deacons at church, he said, "I'm no longer afraid of my phone." This was in the midst of COVID. We had to shift from, so in addition to what the work that we just described, from the Flint East app, we developed a smartphone technology training, literacy training, where we went out. It's 4 modules where we go through kind of A to B, advanced, basic, intermediate, and advanced. So how to enlarge your text. How do you turn your volume up or down? So the very basics of a smartphone. Then advancing to, okay, this is your camera. This is how you take a camera. This is how you send a text with a picture attached to it. And the big thing, again, with COVID was Zoom. This is how you can get on Zoom with your phone. This is how you turn your camera on or off.
Right. Please turn it off. I've seen some things.
I've definitely seen some things. Muting, how to connect your audio. And so through those classes and building that curriculum, light bulbs were just going off, and just the gratitude still today. We have classes in partnership with the Flint Housing Commission on a regular basis. We've graduated, I believe we're up to 5 cohorts where they went through those 4 modules in partnership. We're part of the Connect Home USA network here in Flint. And so in partnership with Comcast, we were able to offer those classes and also provide free laptops for those who
free laptops. What?
Indeed. And then also continue those classes at Hasselbrink Senior Center.
Okay.
Yeah. So those, again, very gratifying. We have tech crew as young as 14 that are part of the team that learn that patience and being able to reinforce patiently and kindly with courtesy to older adults.
That's the whole thing right there. Be patient.
Yes. Yes.
Learn to talk and sit down and be still. You ain't got to run nowhere. Because when you get around with somebody who's been around for a while, they got some stories, and they gonna tell you the stories.
Some stories. Ain't got nothing to do with maybe this, but let me tell you.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
I'll tie it back in, and we're all better for it.
Is that a phone? Oh, okay, you got to. I thought you had to see even the new phones now. Like I'm saying these phones are too smart. I want to go back to a flip phone.
Why is that?
I just want a phone to be a phone.
That part.
Sometimes I just want it to be a phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I use my phone a lot for like YouTube. I use for podcasting a lot. I just listen, and then I get a phone call or a text message or something. I'm just like, can I just do one thing, right?
And we teach that in a class too.
Yeah.
They're like, well, because the challenge is the different levels of competency and comfortability. And I'm like, I literally run 4 companies off of this phone.
Wow.
You don't need to do that. We want to do the basics.
Wow.
And so, the being able to describe the totality of what they're paying for, and you don't need that big old plan because you're not using that much data.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
From a financial standpoint, what you can scale down to with what you really need.
Yes.
I mean, that speaks volumes as well. So,
absolutely.
So how can people catch up with you and the great work that you're doing, Athena?
Absolutely. Robert, we are at flintinnovativesolutions.org online. We also have social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then you can reach us at our office at 810-529-6607.
Awesome.
Be happy to serve.
Say it one more time slow, because I know somebody was like, I didn't have my paper.
FlintInnovativeSolutions.org. And our phone number is 810-529-6607.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, this is Robert Reed with Flint ReCAST. And you want to reach out to us, you can reach us at recast@flint.org. We'll see you on the next Talk About It Tuesday.